This is Classic Tetris League Division 1A. Peekayric on the left, SV on the right. We're going to count down game number 1 in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. 8. And Peek going to slam it down. Hit transition. 1.183. 1.198 for SV. Couple of misdrops for both players here. But Peek is behind. He needs to catch us back up. Needs something to the left. Can he get the bar? He has to go flat. He needs a bar. He needs a 5-tap. It's so crucial. He's going to hang it. Oh, he's set up with a long bar dependency. Gets a long bar. That's a single only. Can he get this bar over? He can. Couple more burns here needed for Peek. He's trying to stay alive, fighting for his life here. And as SV hits the kill screen at 9:15, but I don't think Peek's getting out of this one. He's going to hang. Yeah, this board is starting to climb. Gets that square over. Let's actually see if he can dig this out. Oh, no, he's going to hang and just give up. 475, his final score. Let's try this again. This is Classic Tetris League Division 1A. DanV Weller on the left, Gerald Freeman on the right. Counting down game number 1 in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. All right, we've got gameplay. Let's go. Alright, so this is some Classic Tetris League. Let's do some introductions while these players are stacking on 18. On the left-hand side, rolling out of the United Kingdom with an NTSC PB of 2.8. He is DanV Weller. His opponent this evening, rolling out of the United States with an NTSC PB of a whopping 6.3 million. He is Gerald Freeman. And being that this is Classic Tetris League, we do have some standings that have started to take shape here. As DanV got up a bit high and gets a quick Tetris. Making a double, finally on the board with 2. Gerald is at 51. DanV just starting off this new season, having played no matches. And same to be said about Gerald Freeman. So both these players have the opportunity to tie up with Doge. Doge and Peek are the only 2 players for Div 1A that have done anything so far. Again, the season just getting off to a start, so that's to be expected. Doge ends up with a record of 3-1, so if any of the players here can sweep the other one, then we may be looking at a new leader of Div 1A. What I also do know is DanV is up very high, playing with a lot of fire. He's trying not to get burned here. Nice triple. That's a burn that you like to see. Gets that well back open. Now it's just waiting for a long bar to come in. And he's going to take the triple. Gerald with a dirty Tetris. There's a clean one for DanV. 137. 128 for Gerald. So Gerald kind of struggle busing here as well. But 30 lines through. Another Tetris coming in for DanV. Go up to 161. And a dirty Tetris there for Gerald. He's going to look to bring this board down now. Or he will continue to stack. He's ready for the dirty Tetris once again. And the bar's going to come. And now has the well transfer to the center. Takes a skim. Tetris for both. 231 for DanV. 202 for Gerald Freeman. And we're almost through 60 lines for both of our players. As we are starting to get the halfway point here, Gerald not able to get much in the way of clean stacking. However, he has remained efficient, scoring these Tetrises dirty and in unconventional wells. You can see he's set up for a dirty or a center triple. Gets the triple there and is now going to finally get that well back over, established on the right-hand side where it belongs. But this has allowed DanV to amass about a 2 Tetris lead. But a drought starting to form. DanV up a bit high. Does get a nice long bar. There's that Tetris and a Tetris for Gerald as well. 310 plays 266. The 100 line turn right around the corner. And really good placements here for Dan. Setting up some creative overhangs to make room for some pretty awkward pieces. You kind of see he also stashed those long bars all the way to the left-hand side. And now flattens out the stack. Has some room for squares, and good thing, because here they come. All right, another long bar and Tetris for both here. 402 plays 317, 85,000 point lead here for DanV. Going to add another quick Tetris, increase that lead to about a 4 Tetris lead now at 425. But he is a bit ahead in lines now, so that lead not quite as big as it would appear, but definitely does have the advantage. Some more stuttering here, but it's caught back up. So DanV just going to take the triple there, probably going to stack up on row 2. You can see he's doing just that. We do have transition in about 12 lines for our players, so they're going to want to get clean fast. Another Tetris coming in. Make it a double. DanV with a good well transfer here. Going to go to the center. Of course, center well's a little bit difficult to maintain. You can see a drought starting to form. It's always like this game knows when you're set up unconventionally. But we do have transition for DanV at 549. 2 Tetrises in the tank here for Gerald Freeman once that is available. So we'll wait for those bars to come. There's one. Bangs it down. 501. DanV going to slam home another quick Tetris into level 20 at 599. Gerald kind of waiting for a J piece here. Oh, it's going to set up for a dirty. Couple burns. There's a long bar and a dirty Tetris with a fist bump into transition. 527. We're off to the races. And Gerald just setting up a couple of delayed burns. Gets a long bar and another quick Tetris there. Up to 552. Starting to cut into that lead from DanV. DanV still enjoying about a 100,000 point lead in the real-time score. Another Tetris coming in up to 681. Gerald going to counter 577. But again, Gerald is behind almost 2 full levels. That is 5 Tetrises. So, you know, they're pretty much neck and neck right now. Another Tetris coming in for Dan, 736. Tetris for Gerald, 608. And a nasty couple of pieces coming in now for Gerald. Gonna have to set up some burns, and you'll see him take them. Triple coming in. One more burn away from opening up the well. Gets the well open. There's a long bar Tetris. Now DanV having to do a bit of burning now. See if he's gonna go with the left well. And no, he's just going to burn away a double. Still going to be pretty dependent here. Now an eyepiece dependency's formed in column 3. And makes another long bar dependency. Nothing's burning. A couple more long bar dependencies formed here for Dan. He should be okay, though. In fact, he's set up for a Tetris long bar coming in. That's a triple. I can count. 789 playing 734. Gerald has caught back up here. But 1 Tetris separating each other. Now 2.5. But Gerald going to knock down 2 quick scores there. 54,000 now. Gerald level 24. DanV level 25. But going to hit a Tetris quickly. DanV now it's going to try to deal with the center. Gerald dealing with his center with a Tetris. 799. 2 Tetrises back. But again, still about a level and a half behind. There's another long bar and another Tetris to bring this within 1 Tetris. But DanV with a stairway to heaven here. Can he get out of this? No, he's going to hang the T and give up the goose. 867. He's done. So, Gerald, you need a Tetris. That long bar definitely going to do it. 869. Gerald Freeman is good for game number 1. Gerald is on the march. Can DanV tie things up? Let's find out, because game number 2 comes to you in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. So kind of a slow-ish start for both players in that game number 1. I say slow-ish because they still remained efficient, but, you know, couldn't really do much in the traditional right well. But it was enough to allow Gerald Freeman, courtesy of the early top-out mid-post. Oh, nice recovery there from Gerald, setting up for the misdrop there. Gerald was able to take the advantage into this game number 2. He's going to look to ride that momentum out here. Try to take an early 2-game advantage over DanV. Meanwhile, DanV going to look to rebound from that game number 1, put it behind him, and get on the board himself. Again, This is a league format match, and a sweep would put you in first. So Gerald looking to do just that. DanV, best he could muster up is tying with Doge if he were to win out. And DanV with a center well, pretty messy. And that center well won't burn anything. He will get a Tetris to provide some relief, but this is a stack of all time if I've ever seen one. Oh, and you can see Dan here set up mega dirty now. Needs the bar. Bar comes, bangs down that disgusting Tetris. And Dan's just going to go to work, holding out for this long bar. What do they say over in the UK? Oh, they say long bar sometimes. I've also heard them say, waiting for the eyepiece. Right. But whatever you call it, it definitely came. A nice adjustment for the square for DanV. He gets a long bar simul Tetris. 150 for Dan, 174 for Gerald. We're through 40 lines. Colin, the music you use sounds familiar. Yes, it is White Bat Audio. We use White Bat Audio for all of our music needs here over at Classic Tetris League. They do a good job over there. All right, DanV with a couple more dependencies formed here. Oh, and now double J dependency turns it into an LJ. Oh, if he gets a J piece here, he can snake that in. But it is not going to come, so he's going to set up a rooftop burn. Gets a nice long bar there to fill out the center of the stack. 223, about a Tetris back here. Gerald hits home another quick Tetris to take a 2 Tetris lead here through 60 lines. And there you go, as Kingsman put in the chat, White Bat Audio for their playlist. If you want to check them out, go to youtube.com at White Bat Audio. All right, Gerald with a couple of skins, gets a long bar, gets a Tetris, 320. DanV at 270, going to knock down a quick Tetris of his own, go up to 293. So still about a 50,000 point lead here for Gerald. We are past the halfway point of 18. And Gerald, or DanV making that last second adjustment with that L piece seemed to be the right call, because the next couple of pieces that came, board was very accommodating for it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of streamers use White Bat. I don't. I like the Prime Thanatos, but he has some stuff there that has copyright. He's just a mixer. He doesn't do any of the music. He just puts the playlists together. And, I mean, while his playlist is good, sometimes he's got stuff that YouTube doesn't say is safe. So we've opted to use White Bat Audios. We know that that is no issue for us. You would think for as many as musicians that we have in the community, like somebody would have just made like a Tetris playlist that just is universally used. No, we have a couple of folks that are in the realm of, you know, kind of the synthwave-esque type music. Tempfew Ibis comes to mind out of the UK. He puts together some pretty nice nice melodies. Maybe we can lean on him. But certainly these players leaning on the long bars seems to have been a pretty favorable seed thus far. Both players crossing 500,000. Nice T-spin tuck there for DanV. Going to get 2 quick Tetrises to take the lead for the first time. 552 to 571. Gerald taking that lead right back. Gerald is also behind by a bunch of lines here, so DanV again will transition first. And DanV hitting home a transition there. 599. Gerald with 1 Tetris left, already at 640. Looking for a 668. That'd be crazy. Or 662. Yeah, 664. See, I can't count. But, all right, we got level 19. And the speed has increased. Almost too fast for me being able to play. These players certainly capable. However, DanV does make a slight misdrop and gonna just go with a rooftop burn to take care of it. Gets a long bar. I'm assuming a Tetris. You can see the score change. There we go. So 701 to 738. Gerald level 20, DanV level 21. It's kind of reminiscent of what we saw in that first game where DanV was out into a lead because of being ahead in the P sequence, but this time around he's at a deficit 58,000 right now. He's got to make up for some lost ground. He's at 736, 793 for Gerald. And long bar in, bang, Tetris for Dan. And here comes the long bar in, the Tetris for Gerald. 882 playing 764, starting to heat up here, about a Tetris difference now. But again, that line count differential may come into play here. Music for Max Outs by Carbonic. Awesome. I did not even know that existed. So all right, bang, Tetris for DanV again, 860 to 909. A little bit of complications there for Gerald. Gets a quick Tetris. Now going to use that eyepiece to fill the dependency. And a little bit of complications now starting to form for Dan. Has an eyepiece dependency now. Gerald able to take advantage of this dig sequence from Dan. It's now 999. Gerald with the max out on level 24. That is 1 million points, our first max out of the day. Long bar in, another Tetris. DanV gonna counter with a Tetris of his own. It's about 3 Tetrises back. Really gonna need to get something going here. Takes a triple. Yeah, kind of having a jagged center. Very difficult to work with, but nice pieces and good placements here. Another long bar in and another Tetris. DanV will have that max out with one more Tetris. He's got the tuck. He's Tetris ready now, waiting for the bar to arrive. And the bar does come. Bangs it down. Max out. A17 playing B13. That is 1,133,000. DanV really going to need to pop out some aggression here in the 29 speeds as he is a Tetris away. And that bar going to come in. Bang. Hits 29 at 1,063,000. Up to 65. Gerald taking a couple burns because the drought starting to form here. Bar comes. Bang. Tetris can get one more. And Gerald, DanV's board starting to break down. He needs a bar. Where's the bar? There is no bar. And Gerald at 1.256 is good for game number 2 and is now on match point. GG. Scout uses it in his videos. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, and thank you so much, Lord Savior, putting exclamation point Matcherino in the chat. That's right, we are having a Matcherino. There are some coupon codes still available. Can you believe that? I think there's like 30 left. 34. There are 34 contribution codes. The players, let's get this on. This is a pivotal game number 3. Gerald Freeman looking to sweep DanV and overtake the lead in Division 1A. DanV looking to stay alive. Let's see what happens as we count it down in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. And we did have another quick contribution code come in. Thank you so much for the contribution of 25 cents. Clicking that code from Peekayric, who we'll be seeing in just a couple of moments. Hopefully. Right. All right, Gerald gonna start things off with a dirty Tetris. DanV gonna start one with a clean one. We got a tie game. That's what you want to see in this pivotal game 3. DanV really trying to just get something going here. And so far, so good. He's only taken one burn so far. Gerald has taken quite a few more. 28,000 plays 69. Ooh, Gerald getting up a bit high, but a drought forming, or 20 pieces and counting after 22. Bars come for both. Great drought management. Exactly what you would expect from these Division 1 players. Yeah, we are at $171 in the Matcherino so far, so thank you all so much for your generous contributions. Keep this going all season long. Get the players that are playing right now with a potential in the prize pool. All right, 2 more quick Tetrises knocked down. DanV still enjoying about a 2 Tetris lead here. 171 plays 131, 40 lines through. And well, look who it is. Crinkle's here. Bruh. Yeah, welcoming Crinkle, Lord Savior Kingsman, Ian Keith, Fractal, Javanti, Hoju Jojo. Lots of friends here today. All right, 241 now for DanV, 201 for Gerald. Gerald in a bit of trouble, but does get that well open in the nick of time. Takes a quick Tetris there, 227 to 264 as we approach the halfway point of 18. This is exactly what DanV needs to do. Perhaps warm-up is finally done for him, and he's going to be able to get on the board with a win here. He wants to avoid this sweep. And the SV said he just got out of work, needs about 30 minutes. So, Crinkle, make sure you tell DanV, now these are not my words, to play better, to buy him some time. All right, well, it looks like Gerald may be buying some time for SV to get home, as that board was getting a bit gross, but looks like he is going to be able to get out of that one. Would love a long bar here. And getting every piece but the long bar, as a matter of fact, was getting really tough pieces. That L piece was crucial. That was probably the worst series of pieces you could have had for that board, and of course, this game knew it, so it gave it to him. Which is actually quite ironic because, you know, it is the same piece sets. So the fact that this game has factored in the misdrops like that T for Gerald. I don't know. What am I saying? 342 plays 473. DanV now in a bit of a dig situation himself, holding out for a J piece, but it doesn't come. Was trying to go for a nice flat burn. All right, triple coming in for Gerald. 356, 481 for DanV, and we've passed the 100 line turn. Another dirty Tetris there for Dan. So Dan is maintaining a 6 Tetris lead, which this is exactly what he wants. I mean, it's pretty much what everybody wants except for Gerald, I'm sure. I mean, unless you purposely don't want to root for DanV. I mean, that is a mood. That's allowed, right? As a commentator, I am unbiased. I want both players to do their very best, and truthfully, that's who I am as a person anyway. I don't care about the true outcomes, just as long as the people are playing their very best and they had fun. So wholesome restreamer. All right, Tetris for DanV, 582. There's that Tetris and transition for Gerald as well at 442. So we're off to the races now. DanV snapping down another quick Tetris there. Would love a square piece, but no square. Going to set up another tuck. And of course, there's the squares coming down it, coming in hot. And he's now going to set up for a dirty Tetris, waiting for this bar. Takes a skim. There's a long bar and a dirty Tetris for Dan. Trying to stay efficient here. Meanwhile, Gerald has gotten back to a clean well on these 19 speeds. Gets another long bar and another Tetris. Cutting into that lead from DanV has brought it down to only 4 Tetrises separating these two. Yeah, that's a good point. Coming up at the conclusion of this match, we'll have SV and Peekayric. So, can't wait to watch that. But we're probably going to be waiting a little bit. It's DanV trying to prolong the set with another Tetris. Go up to 706. Gerald Freeman, 564. And a nice sloping stack here for Gerald. DanV going with the center well. And has the well back open. There's a center well Tetris. 739 to 623. Now a 4 Tetris lead here only for Dan. Make it a 3 Tetris lead as Gerald slams down another one, but so does DanV, going up to 771. DanV with a 5 high Vits. Gets it resolved, no problem. Now I'm going to look for a good piece to tuck here. And nice double, actually. Into the Tetris. 8-12 plays 7-14. Gerald with a nice skim to open up the well, get a long bar, another Tetris, 748. So we are separated now only by 2 Tetrises. Gerald has really turned it on in the post-transition. DanV 824, Gerald 780. Nice sloping stack here again for Gerald and for DanV. Very clean board. Long bar in, Tetris for Dan. Where's the bar for Gerald? There it is. But not before DanV can knock down 2 more quick Tetrises to maintain this lead. 889 plays 847. And nice skims here for Dan. That T-piece was nice. Go open up that well, but a drought starting to form here. 15 pieces and counting. Finally going to show for DanV. Goes to 931. Gerald waiting for the bar. There it is. Bang. Simul Tetris. 896 to 965. DanV gets a long bar to resolve the vertical eye tuck. And another couple of Tetrises here. 2 Tetris deficit. Now heading into level 29. Both players have a handful of Tetrises left. DanV can only get 1. Gerald can get 2. But he's going to get a Tetris there. Now he's going to have to burn. DanV hits transition to 29 at a max out. Gerald Freeman needing to get this board back down and under control here. Pretty dependent. But just taking the nice burns with love. A J-piece. J-piece does come. 989. DanV needs something to the left. Gonna hang. Gets a Tetris. Gets that bar over. Should be okay now. That was a crucial 5-tap. He could not afford to miss it, and he nailed it. Oh, but he's making some mistakes now, holding out for this last long bar. He's going to top out at 1.13. So, Gerald, you have a chase down, but it looks like Gerald's sacrificing as well. Not going to complete the chase down, just hitting a max out. So, DanV hangs on for game number 3, and we are going to a game 4. We've got a ready from Dan and a ready from Gerald, so let's get it on. Another pivotal game. This one's game number 4. Gerald Freeman still looking to finish off Dan. Dan looking to force a decider. Let's see what happens as game number 4 comes knocking at your door in 3, 2, 1. Tetris. Yeah, so what a good game number 3 there for Dan. He was able to get on the board. You know, that could be the momentum shift he needed to get back into this. Looks like he has finally gotten his 18 stacking under control here. Of course, it is getting a bit late for DanV. Right? I believe the joke is that we had to call him young. So, you know, it's a school night, right? It's a school night for DanV over in the UK. Yes, we are on Restreamed Champs. Div 1 is always going to try to be on Restreamed Champs. And we got to put it through its paces, right? We got to see the problems. We got to get ahead of them so we can use it and people aren't scared by it. And you know, actually, there's a new role in the Discord. Actually, a really good opportunity to promote our Discord here while we're stacking. If you stumbled upon this channel and you have no idea what Classic Tetris League is about, exclamation point Discord in the chat right there. Join Classic Tetris League Discord. Get notified when our matches go live. Learn more about the tournament. And you guys can get a new Discord role. That's right. It's called Nestris Champs Technician. Right? If you are a good fixer for technology. Hold on. DanV needs to be a good fixer of this board here. And it looks like he's going to go to work and get it cleaned up pretty quickly. But yeah, if you are tech proficient, you can get yourself that role and then get offered a position. Voluntold position, actually. It's voluntold. Kingsman just dumped a whole bunch of people into that to provide support to the users. Oh my gosh, Inky's saying I would be proud of him because he finally got a new power supply for his NES, so his board or their board won't shake anymore. Yay! Oh, and DanV kind of praying for a long bar here, and 21 pieces, 22, 23. Bar finally shows Tetris for some relief, but now he's going to go to work cleaning up yet another mess. Gerald Freeman gets that quick Tetris there. It's been a pretty tight one here. 64 lines, a Tetris advantage for Gerald. So DanV's struggling with this sequence here. Is going to allow Gerald the chance to take the proper lead here. 259 plays 227. DanV looking for another flat piece. That square is going to be nice. It's not very often you say that in Tetris where you're like, oh man, I want a square piece. Yeah, I did ask Yobi if there's a way to calibrate for color, to just use the color based on the level, not trying to grab it from the pieces. I don't know if that is a thing yet, or if it should be. I think it should be if it doesn't already exist. It probably does, and I'm just too dumb to know what it is. But what's not dumb was that nice sequence there for DanV. Pretty complicated pieces, but still has a very clean board. Now with a good sloping stack, gets a long bar, gets a Tetris, 286. Is about 2.5 Tetrises behind now, as Gerald Freeman at 352, going to have some complications forming of his own. Is now Tetris ready, has a hole in row 6, and is just going to get to it now. Bar's going to show, bang, Tetris for Gerald. 383 to 332 at the 100 line turn. Another long bar in, and another Tetris for DanV. Go to 355. Gerald at 406. This is why we I guess, sure. I mean, you have the same chance of a seed being good and being bad when I generate it. Doesn't matter. All right, nice placements here for DanV. 382, but a big drop forming. 25 pieces. Bar shows, bangs it down. And we're about to see that drop start forming here for Gerald. And he's going to hold out for that Tetris as well, but does have a bunch of holes in the stack now, so has to go to work. We got transition right around the corner. Under 10 lines here for DanV. He's going to knock down a Tetris, can get 2 more. A little bit of indecision with that long bar, but he was able to snap it back to where it needs to go. And there's the long bar, bang, transition, 476. Gerald with 2 Tetrises in hand right now, going to get 1, slams it down, 505. Tetris coming in for Dan, 502, neck and neck in the real-time score, but Gerald gonna hit transition right here with a 530, so off we run. Gerald Freeman with about a 2 Tetris lead. Another long bar, another Tetris for Gerald. DanV going Aki bar here. Another long bar in though, gets a quick Tetris, gonna fill the dependency in the center of the stack and go Aki bar once again. You know, this is where we see the good turn to great, as these players really like the 19 speed. They seem to do much better. All right, bar in, Tetris down for DanV. 636 plays 634. Truly neck and neck here. Not taking pace into factor. And Akivitz. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Macy. All right, bang Tetris for Dan. Go to 673, 690 for Gerald. Another Tetris for Gerald, 718. Now with a really big lead. But DanV gonna help counter that. Get a long bar now. 10,000 points separating each other. Another long bar in column 9, and now a couple misdrops for DanV. He's gonna have to clean this up. Gerald is nice and clean. 750 plays 740. One level, the line differential. Yeah, and SV, I can believe that for a certain point, but I've had one game where the seed was really bad. We incremented 2, and then it was like a very favorable seed. So, I think it's all truly random. But if I'm generating it, it doesn't matter. Some people say no, just stick with it because we have a better chance of it getting better through incrementing than having Colin regenerate it all the time. But that's just because I'm so cursed, right? All right. Couple of Tetrises coming in here again. Gerald still with a lead. 907 plays 818. DanV trying to stay efficient, only taking burns, has to take that triple there. 2 long bars comes, so that has to hurt to see that. But you can never bank on this game. Give me the long bars when you need it. Another bar in, another Tetris, 897. Gerald looking for the max out here. 1 Tetris will do it. He's Tetris ready. DanV now level 28, about 3 Tetrises from the max. There's 1. Tetris for Gerald, max out. 1,011,000. DanV with a Tetris there, up to 966. 1 more will give him the max. He's waiting for this bar, does not want to sell out. Gets a long bar, there's that Tetris. 1,005,000 points. He's off to the races on level 29, trying to keep it clean, trying to get it into Tetris readiness. He's ready, waits for the bar. Couple of cruddy pieces. Oh no, DanV with a couple of hangs here, but gets that well back open. Very hard to do on these level 29 speeds. Meanwhile, Gerald kind of also breaking down here a bit. Needs some good pieces of his own. Nice square. Ooh, did not go long bar flat. Would actually open up the well, but gonna find an alternate solution, and it appears to be a good one. However, looks like a drought is starting to form here for Gerald. Gets a triple. DanV is clean. Gets a long bar Tetris to take the lead. 1.14 to 111. But Gerald gonna get that well back reopened. He's gonna burn down DanV with another Tetris. Up in the aggression in the post. Gets a couple of burns thanks to some holes created in the stack. It doesn't quite get the tuck of the T, and now has a long bar dependency. This is crucial 5-tap if the bar comes, but it is not showing. It comes, but he hangs it. Oh, 1.2. So Gerald with a chase down. It's a short one. You need a Tetris and change. 1.232. That is a C31. C32, actually. Yeah, C32. Oh, that TP's looking pretty tough, though. Nice vertical eye tuck. That was nice resolution here. Gerald just going to look to reset this board back down. Ooh, but hang on to the hang of the bar. And is there anything he can do? He's got to go flat to burn away the crap. And he can't. And Gerald's not going to complete the chase down. So DanV with a 1.23 is strong enough to hang on. And we are going to a decider. But it looks like DanV with the control. Let's see what happens as game number 5 comes alive. And 3, 2, 1, decider. All right, coming up at the conclusion of this match. Take about a, I don't know, probably like a 4-minute break. Maybe a little bit longer for SV to get everything turned on and hooked up and hopefully calibrated to take on Peekayric. And 20 Dan isn't British anymore? When did that happen? Like, did he Brexit? All right, 68,000 plays 47. Gerald with a little bit of a mess. He's going to have to get that hole cleared up, and he's going to go to work, get it cleaned out. Vertical I-tuck and resolution there for DanV. Proved to be the better play. Gets a quick Tetris there. 114. Another bar in, and another Tetris for Dan. Go to 136. And welcome in Toka. Toka, how is this your first time chatting on this channel? Sometimes I think Twitch just be making stuff up. All right, there's the Tetris for Dan. 161. Gerald, 100,000. About 2.5 Tetrises back. Sets up a T-spin, but the T takes forever to show, so he burns it away. And some nasty squares following. Gerald kind of struggling here. Not where you want to be if you're Gerald. You were out to a 2-0 advantage. And DanV has clawed his way back to a decider. You cannot afford to give him any more momentum. Does get a quick long bar and a quick Tetris there. Now he's going to hold out for an L-piece. L-piece shows. One more burn and he's back to clean. Meanwhile, DanV just taking the nice skims. Looking very poised here. About 100,000 points in the lead. 50 line through. It is 236 to 138. I don't know. I've always whenever I put predictions in, I'm like at a 40% hit rate, I think. But I like to root on the underdogs too, because channel points, especially on some of the channels, this one has some emotes that you can unlock, and that's about it for redemptions. Would be cool if we had like sound alerts, or maybe not sound alerts, but just something for some amusement. And Dan not looking too amused with that left side. Would love a T-piece. And there it comes. And look at that. Fills it out. Gets a long bar. Quick Tetris. Oh, Gerald kind of putting that S-piece with all these L's coming in. Actually going to hang one L. Now he needs a J. J does come in. Ooh, almost doesn't get the rotation, but finally does get it flipped just in the nick of time. And he's looking okay now. Nice triple to get that well back open, but he is 6 Tetrises back. 384 to 270. Turn that heater off. My arm is burning. Speaking of losing in CTM, Somalians here. All right, DanV taking a delayed line spin burn. Looked cool. Still maintaining a 5 Tetris lead. Gets another Tetris up to 433 at 100 lines. Gerald's kind of been struggle busing here this entire 18. Not where you want to be. Oh, DanV thought about the vertical I-tuck for a moment, but then said, you know what? Transition's right around the corner. Probably shouldn't. That seems to be the right call, as a drought is starting to form here. 440 for DanV, 16 pieces and counting. Bar shows, back-to-back bars, able to get a Tetris there. 463, 309 for Gerald, who has finally cleaned up the board, and not a moment too soon, as transition in 15 lines. 150,000 points back. That's the equivalent of 6.5 Tetrises, so definitely going to have his work cut out for him in the post-transition. We got to focus on getting there first. Gerald holding out for a square or not a square. Okay, the T. Oh, beautiful pieces. Fills out the center that's stacked beautifully. Going to get a nice skim and is ready for another quick Tetris. Going to slam it down. Can get 2 more with perfect play. Unfortunately, perfect play going to be off the table. DanV transitions 557. Gerald waiting for one last long bar to Tetris into 19. There it is. Slams it down. 405. So 6 Tetris lead here at transition. We're off to the races in this game number 5. But as we saw in the previous game, Gerald was able to really get caught back up in the late transition. So hopefully for Gerald, he's going to be able to do that again. But if you're DanV, you're looking to put a statement here and say, you know what? No, I'm taking this home. We're going home now. I mean, he's already home, but gets a long bar at Tetris. You guys know what I'm saying. Another bar in and another Tetris. 669. Hey now for DanV. Add a Tetris. 696. Gerald Freeman, 511. Yeah, chat noticing DanV using his sock and his heel to anchor the controller. Which I told him to remind me at CTUK. Bro, remind me not to touch your controller. But you got to give credit. Foot rollers appear to have been the right call, as a lot of players that were not using the foot grip have switched over to that. And then the players that have really perfected foot rolling really starting to take form now. You can kind of see Gerald was originally a foot roller. So was oh, who were some of the other ones? Alex T, right? Alex T was a foot roller. I think he still is. All right, DanV gets a T, nails the spin. That was crucial. If he missed that one, he'd be doing a lot more digging. But he does have some more burns that he needs to take care of now. Still maintaining a 5 Tetris lead here. 161 plays 729. So this is DanV's game to lose. He needs to stick with it throughout the entire post-transition. It's at 897. Gerald Freeman, 730. Quick Tetris for Gerald up to 762. Another Tetris for Dan, 929. 2 more for the max out. Actually, 3 more. Ooh, and some really tough pieces here for Dan, but gonna get a quick Tetris there. 966. And Gerald having to deal with a bit of a burn sequence. Gets it cleaned up, gets a quick Tetris. Now with Love and J-piece. I-piece will have to work with the J in the window, of course. But a bar coming in. Bang Tetris. 979. Playing 870. DanV still with a commanding 5 Tetris lead. But needs to be careful right before transition. Cannot afford to get up too high and enter 29 and lose all your playability. You see, just like that, takes the safety burns into level 29. Goes long bar flat, couple flat burns here. Would love a line piece, but it is not coming. Gonna set up again. 1,074,000 plays 919. We're on level 29. And singles and doubles going to be the order of the day here for Dan, just trying to maintain this lead. Gerald has all the pressure on him, needs to make up 100,000 points. With misdrop of the T-piece, does get a nice quick Tetris though, but he's going to need a couple of good pieces to come in here. Needs a J-piece. J-piece comes with love a square. Trying to avoid any unnecessary dependencies here on these 29 speeds. Gets that I-piece over, bringing this down, which is what you like to see. Has started to erode away a bit at this lead, but DanV still having about a 3 Tetris lead here. 1114 plays 983. Oh, but Dan getting a bit messy now. But good pieces burning this down. Gerald Freeman, on the other hand, getting into a bit messier. Oh, great survival here, bringing this board down. Needs something to the left, gets a piece over, gets a long bar, nice triple for some relief. Meanwhile, DanV gonna take a triple there of his own. 1,165,000 to 1,014,000. Gerald set up for a dirty triple, gets the triple, but is still in Dig City here. DanV looking clean, couple delayed burns. Still maintaining about a 3 Tetris lead, though. Gerald really is running out of time here. We do have that level 39 super kill screen. And DanV gonna knock down a Tetris in column 3 to a 1.2. Gerald at 1,053,000. But DanV looking like he's getting up to the top, able to get that crucial 5 tap, but this is looking pretty messy. Needs another long bar. Actually set up for a Tetris. Selling out for this last bar. Oh, it comes too late. 1.2. 1.244 is the final score. Gerald, that's your chase down. You need 1.245 or C45, but this board climbing needs a couple pieces. Oh, gonna hit. Oh no, gonna top out. 1,075,000. DanV Weller getting it done. And there he is in all of his glory. Congratulations to your winner. That is supposed to be DanV. Boom. There he is. Congratulations, DanV. You are a winner. GG. And I'm just going to go like that. What a reverse sweep.
Able to start with a clean Tetris. Rhubarb taking a couple burns. Oh, NGC's board is not looking good at the moment. Needs a long bar. We'll get it for the triple. Should be fine now. Bang Tetris for Rhubarb. And there's a Tetris for NGC. Didn't lose too much, less than a Tetris. And Vicious Rhubarb also having a burn, so those lines will come right back. Rhubarb having trouble getting access to those holes in rows 2 and 3 there. It's just having a burn right now. It's giving NGC man the lead by a Tetris. And nothing Rhubarb can do, especially during this drought. Finally gets a long bar for the split double, and then bang, dirty Tetris. NGC could not score a Tetris in that, so it's neck and neck. Gets the long bar over bang Tetris, and now NGC man has some extra holes where he doesn't want them.